Welcome back to the It's Just Sport podcast paper review. I'm Joanne O Riordan.
I'm Niamh. If you want to connect with us, be sure to follow us on Twitter at hersport.ie and at Joanne O or _OX, and on Instagram at hersport.ie and at Joanne O or. Let's get started for today. I think you've got some rugby news.
Yeah, we're very busy today, Niamh. It's wild. We don't rest in her sport. But in rugby news, the Six Nations, the Women's Six Nations, has been rescheduled and will take place in April from the 6th of April to the 24th. So actually finishing on my birthday. So no pressure, Ireland, on reaching a final and making it a good 25th birthday. It will be obviously a new condensed format with teams being split up into two pools. Ireland have been drawn in Pool B in a tough group with France and Wales. But the winners of Pool B will play the winners of Pool A. And although there will be less games, I'm sure it'll be fascinating to watch every team having to hit the ground running because they're now under pressure to top their group and get into the final. So we wish Ireland obviously the best of luck. It's obviously going to be a bit tricky given how they're playing France, who are a professional team, and England, who are in Pool A, are obviously another professional team. So it's going to be a bit tricky. I know they haven't been playing as much as what they'd like to, given the fact that there is a big tournament coming up. And this is a year of qualification for the Rugby Women's World Cup, and they have fallen out of the rankings for top or automatic qualification, I should say. So it'll be an interesting one. We obviously wish the girls in green all the best. And thankfully, we now have jerseys that we can buy with the women's logos on them. So if anyone is interested, do that and follow the women's rugby. But Niamh, I know it's been busy in athletics at the minute. So if you want to run off the athletics news and tell us what Nadia Power and co have been getting up to.
Yeah, so we were talking about Nadia Power and Ciara Neville and Sarah Lavin last week. We knew they were in action. We actually missed out on a couple of the other athletes that were doing today for you. So Nadia was competing in France and she ran 2:02.96 and finished in fifth place. She's been in brilliant form in the last 12 months and she broke the 800-meter Irish indoor record in Vienna last week. So both of the times she has run recently are inside the European indoor qualifying times, which is 2:03.85. This episode is being recorded on Tuesday evening and she is actually in action again tonight. So we will have news on her sport in relation to how that race goes. She is up against some big names and it'll be very exciting to see how she goes. You see that she is currently ranked 55th in the world.
Yeah, so I suppose what people don't really realize is that these races actually have a massive impact on the athletics world rankings, and that potentially could be qualification for the Tokyo Olympics. So at the minute, Nadia is currently ranked 55th in the athletics world rankings. I suppose the top 48 actually qualify for the Tokyo Olympics. And I think, as we said in our very first episode when we were talking about Nadia, that although 2020 Tokyo might have been too close for her, 2021 is certainly on her horizon. And she, if she continues to race as well as she's doing at the minute, she could possibly be, she could have an Irish vest, like going all the way over to the Olympics in Tokyo. And as well with the race experience, I think that she's building up. She's obviously, I think tonight on Tuesday, she's going to race against some bigger names. And she basically will have it. I'm not saying up against her, but hopefully the experience and the confidence I think that she's running with, it will pay off because, if she pulls off something spectacular tonight, then surely that'll give her some mad confidence going forward for the Olympics. So she is currently 11 points off getting to the top 48 at the minute. But as I said, the way she's racing at the minute, it's obviously exciting to see where she'll end up. And I think Niamh, you are going back over to Ostrava, I think, to talk to us about Ciara and Sarah Lavin.
Yeah, so we actually have Isabel O'Donnell of Raheny Shamrock. She competed at that French meet as well. So she finished close third in 2:04.61 in the heat that she was in. And Claire Mooney of Nace Athletics Club, she finished seventh with 2:07.74. So we actually had some more people in France. We'll get to Ostrava in a second, but we'll go to Michelle Flynn first. She had a 3,000 meter PB and she won with the time of 9:02.34 in France, but it was in Val de Roule. I'm definitely not saying that right, but anyway. She also got her European indoor qualifying time, which is great to see her in good form, and I'm sure she'd be delighted with that personal best. In Ostrava, Ciara Neville. In Ostrava, unfortunately, Ciara Neville didn't actually compete. I think there is a niggle, so as a precautionary measure, she opted out. Sarah Lavin was in action and got two PBs. So in the heat, she ran a time of 8:21. And then in the final, she ran a time of 8:18, which qualified her for European indoors. So I know Sarah has been, working hard for the last 2 years. She said it's been 7 years of hard work, and now she's got 3 times that she's delighted with in a matter of days, really. I guess just over a week, that she has delivered 3 exceptional times. So she's certainly delighted with life, and the hard work is all paying off. So that's it for athletics at the moment, and certainly more to come. In relation to soccer, there's lots going on. So if you can give us the update in the soccer world today, Joanne.
You're doing this so you can see my heart breaking live on TV and in podcast form. But there is obviously some interesting rumours coming out of the Women's National League. Saoirse Noonan, our beloved Cork City striker and phenomenon, is possibly joining Shelburne for the upcoming 2021 season. How that'll have an effect on things going forward is to be seen between the Cork Ladies football and everything else. If people didn't know, Saoirse Noonan helped Cork to reach the FAI Cup final last season and received a call up to the Irish international squad as a result of her performances, as well as taking Cork LGFA to an All-Ireland final against Dublin. And I think what people also were kind of highlighting as well is that in one weekend, I think she scored a hat trick between soccer and ladies football. So it was very cool to see. She scored 2 goals to get Cork into the FAI Cup final. And then the day before, she actually scored a goal against Kerry, an incredible solo effort. It's on YouTube if anyone is interested. Like, it's soccer meets GA. And I'd say all the traditionalists were having like anxiety, like seeing all the like soccer moves being like put into GA. But no, look, we wish her all the best if she does decide to obviously go to Shelburne and whatever decision she wants to make. I think when a green jersey is in the rankings for you, I think it's very hard to turn that down. I think as much as everyone would like to think that GA is life and GA beats all, I think we can't really be harsh on people who decide to have a go at the professional game and to see if they can grow their career that way. So we do wish her all the best. I know we've got some SSE Airtricity Women's National League fixtures for 2021. So SSE have just come on board and have announced that they are sponsoring both the men's and women's league. So that's very exciting. The SSE Airtricity Women's National League will kick off on Saturday, the 27th of March, with the top tier of the women's game, once again consisting of 9 teams. Champions Peamount are facing Wexford away in Ferry Carrick Park. And the FAI Women's Cup senior final will also take place on the weekend ending 20th of November. So that's pretty exciting for people to look out for. Will Peas retain their double? Will they do the domestic double again? Or will Shelburne eventually come out on top after finishing second? Or will some of the young guns like Cork City, Galway, DLR Waves and all these teams, will they kind of come up? I know Anya Gorman has said that the quality of the league is actually on the way up, and we can see that when the Vera Pauw is calling up some of the league stars. So yeah, I think it's very exciting to be a soccer fan, and hopefully something can be agreed in terms of how we can get viewership and get this on TV. I know there's a lot of stuff going on at the minute with Watch League of Ireland and all the streaming that had happened so brilliantly, I think, over the last lockdown. So will it continue? It's hard to know. Hopefully SSE Airtricity can help financially and sponsorship wise, and hopefully the FAI might help out. We won't really hold our breaths. But Niamh, I think you've got some fun news. We're actually going to flick over to luge, a sport I think people will be like, what? We've got Irish people competing in luge?
Yeah, no, I think we have had some really interesting takeovers on her sport, and people are certainly learning a lot more about the winter sports. So Elsa Desmond recently competed in the Final Nations Cup, and she finished in 29th position. She did have a small injury in her foot, but she has reassured everybody that she is okay and she'll be up walking around again in no time. She became the first Irish person to represent Ireland in the luge on the international stage in January this year, and she finished in 27th place at the European Championship. So it's very exciting at the moment for winter sport in Ireland. In the last couple of years we've seen some changes, so it's brilliant that there are more and more people, particularly women, coming up the ranks and paving their way on the international stage. So Elsa is actually on the road to Beijing. She's hoping to qualify for 2022 and the Winter Olympics. So there are 35 slots available, and the more and more racing that she gets, the more experience, and fingers crossed for a qualification. It's certainly a little bit different than normal because of COVID, but we'll certainly see how things go. And I know she's a young athlete with big dreams, so if not 2022, let's look forward to the next cycle. She recently qualified as a doctor. In the last 24 hours, she has actually just received her final grades and qualified as a doctor as well. So huge congratulations to her. Somebody that's certainly achieving great things on all fronts at the moment. But I mean, in her sport news, like, we've had great takeovers, so certainly go and check out Elsa's. We've also had Tess Arbez. So Tess was actually the first or the only female competing at the Winter Olympics in 2018. So it's great to see more women involved in the Winter Olympic sports, and I know it's a minority at the moment in general, that there's not that many Irish people competing in the Winter Olympics, but it's great that both Tess and Elsa are pushing things forward. And then we also had Shauna Bannon, former kickboxer turned MMA fighter with big dreams of the UFC. She did a takeover recently and got huge reaction and feedback from people. I'm delighted to share her story and learn. People were learning so much about her. So Shauna is a recent mum. She has just had her baby boy, and she is back training. So I think she had him a little while before Christmas, and she's back training at the moment. So she gave people an insight into training as a mom, still pursuing her dreams. And I think answered a lot of people's questions about that, because it's something that people have hesitations with, I suppose. Knowing what you can be doing, should you be training, what kind of training can you do, and obviously it's each individual. It's up to themselves, and I know that Shauna certainly recommended that people speak with their doctors and stuff about maybe what training might be suitable. But she's obviously a high performing athlete and has a team around her supporting her in what to do. But she trained right up to before giving birth to her son. So definitely something that's inspiring, and I think reassured a lot of people and answered a lot of questions, because I think as female participation in sport has increased in the last number of years, it's something that we're having to deal with more recently and understand the ins and outs of it. I actually saw Katrina Jennings was competing in a 100k race actually recently, and she spoke about it. She was doing the 100k competition with Hoka, and when she had agreed to do it, she didn't realize at the time, or sorry, maybe she became pregnant after agreeing to do it. But when she realized she was pregnant, it was something that she then had to decide whether she was going to compete or what the story was. And she did continue with her training and did compete. And the plan was, if anything felt unusual or felt different, that she would drop out from the competition. So she made it as far as the 60-kilometer mark, which is like so far. But she said that something felt a bit unusual, so she did pull out of the race in the end. But it's just great to see so many moms competing and training, and that you can still be an athlete and be a mom. It's just about making sure that you're doing your training right, look after yourself and looking after the baby. But I think they're really inspiring stories, don't you?
Yeah, like, I think they're incredible. Like, I know in ladies football, I think Joanne O Riordan of Fermanagh, if memory serves me right, she had her boy when she was 22, and she basically continued playing. She's been a stalwart for them. If anything, I think she said herself that she feels better in her athletic career. She feels that she can do more, which is kind of surprising. And I know not this year, but the year before, she actually went over to the Bulldogs over in AFLW, and she became a pro athlete, and she brought her son over, and they had basically a great time. And they basically, I mean, it's an opportunity, like, for a child that's so, like, you're never going to experience that, like, again. Like, it's obviously cool to be involved in professional sports, like, absolutely. But, like, to be with your mom as she's playing over in, like, Australia and playing with the Bulldogs and literally kicking ass, like, it's absolutely unbelievable to see. And same with Shauna, same with Katrina as well. Like, I read her story and I found it absolutely incredible, especially to go 60 kilometers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was trying to put that, like, in perspective, and I was like thinking, I was like, that's from my house to Killarney and back. So she did like that twice, which is absolutely like,
Yeah.
it's sensational. Like I'm tired after 10 minutes of yoga. Like I'm knackered like after that. So like to do that with like a human growing inside of you, I think is absolutely incredible. And same with Shauna, like, to continue. I know she obviously wasn't in combat like while pregnant, but to continue the intense training that you need in order to stay fit is absolutely unreal. Like I followed like bits of her Instagram story, her takeover with her sport. And I was just like mind blown. Like I found the whole thing. And I loved like the theme of the questions, which was a lot of people, I'm not saying like being concerned, but a lot of people being like, oh, was it like dangerous or, different things. And I think as Shauna put properly, it's not dangerous for me, but don't take that as advice. Like go talk to your doctor,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
go talk to people in the know. And I thought like one, that was obviously incredibly responsible of her, but two, like it was incredibly honest because like I think everyone is different and I think no one should feel bad like either way, like while pregnant, that they're either working out too much or not working out enough, and I think it was just incredible to see. And I think it's great that these moms like exist. Like it wasn't, maybe was it last year or the year before, Alison Felix, the US track athlete, she campaigned Nike for maternity leave pay. And she basically said, Nike pay my wages to go out and run. I got pregnant, during an Olympic cycle, so they should kind of continue to pay me. And she's right. Like, I mean, like passion, blood, sweat, tears, whatever you want to call it, that's not going to pay the mortgage. And under female athletes, it's a situation that it's something that could happen. I know, with modern science and things like that advancing, and I suppose we're all good at tracking our cycles and things like that, things still do happen. And it's something that is important to highlight and something that I think should be supported rather than turned away. It's the same thing as a male footballer going out and, God forbid, like tearing his ACL or something like that and putting them out for 9 months. So it's literally the same thing. But I think it's unreal that we have all these incredible role models for mothers. Like I think it's so good to see. I think it's so good for the younger generation, or maybe someone who has given birth relatively young, like Joanna had, at the age of 22, and maybe they think, I'm not saying their life is over, but they think they have to dedicate their whole life, to their child. And I can understand that too. Like maternal instincts are going to be there, but to see these women going out every day and competing at such a
To
top
manage
level,
both.
yeah, I think you're right. Like it's just unbelievable, and I think they'll admit themselves they need a lot of like outside help, from like parents, grandparents, whoever is there to look after the child. But I just think like for me, if like, I mean, look, my mom's never going to be an elite athlete now, but like it would be so cool to like get to go to like all these. Like, did you see when the women's soccer league in America was going off? And I think it's Jessica McDonald of the Carolina Courage. Her son came with her to live in the bubble, and they built him a playground just next to the pitch. And like some reporter like went over and like interviewed him because he's old, like he's an older child, like he's not going to be like babbling away. And they basically said to him like, "What's your favorite part of the bubble?" And he was like, "I love the playground." They were like, "Oh, you're not excited about the that kind of thing." And he was like, "No, I see my mom playing every day. Like my mom's a World Cup winner." And it was just so cool to see that, to see that young boy, like he had such a strong female role model. It was just cool for him to see, and like he could maybe have a soccer career too when he's older. Like you'd never know.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I think there's loads of inspirational elite female athletes that are also moms in Ireland and further afield, like Alison Felix, obviously you mentioned her as well. And it's just, I think it was a really cool insight from Shauna to share with the audience. And I know if you haven't heard of Katrina Jennings' story as well, like certainly go over and look at the race that she recently did. I think it was something, probably a very difficult decision for her to step off the course and to stop that race. But obviously something that she had planned for, had factored in that it was a possibility, and the health of herself and the health of her baby was much more important than a race. Hopefully we'll see her in action again at some point doing that, because it's an amazing thing for 100 kilometers. But yeah, we have Danielle Hill on tomorrow for another Instagram takeover. So she's an Irish swimmer who holds a few Irish records, and certainly will be giving it her all to qualify for the Olympics, whether it's this year or whether it's in 2024. I think it's something that's very feasible for Danielle. She's been racing very well. I think it'd be an interesting takeover to check out, because she did have surgery, I think it's definitely over 12 months ago, and maybe it's over a year and a half anyway. But to come back from injury and to show the success that she's had since is great for people to understand, because sometimes people feel like no more than having a child. Having a child or having an injury, like sometimes these are reasons that people think that you have to leave sport or you can't go on. And it's great that there are so many people out there that we have been able to share their stories and show that you can continue and that anything is possible, really. We have also done our recent interview with Ciara McGean on the latest episode of It's Just Sport, a League of Her Own, so certainly something to check out. We had a great time chatting with Ciara, maybe too much fun because we couldn't get off the call. We were talking so much. But other than that, I mean, you were busy. Sorry, were you not on the TV recently?
Niamh, you joined me inadvertently on the TV. Niamh, so for context, for anyone who doesn't know, so I was doing self promo, like I always do, for the It's Just Sport podcast, on the 6 o'clock show on Virgin Media. I think it was the last Thursday, and Niamh found herself inadvertently being bombarded with messages saying, "Niamh, you were on TV," because they showed a clip of us talking. But yeah, no, we got some, good reaction. I think, hopefully we are obviously trying to get the pod out there as much as we possibly can. And no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like it was such a crack. My AirPods like cut off like in the middle of it, which was like really embarrassing because I had everyone like kicked off the internet here, and I didn't think like these would like do something like, but the Bluetooth or something like disconnected, or one was getting loose in my ear. I don't know what it was. But yeah, it was really weird. But no, overall I had an absolute blast. Like it's kind of weird that like you can record for TV shows now, like
yeah, it's crazy.
Like business on top, but like party at the bottom. Because like I was in like sweats at the bottom. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I like I that's the new business casual now for me. I kind of feel. But yeah, no, overall it was a good time. But I hear you decided randomly. Well, you probably decided randomly, but it was on your mind. You decided to do a marathon at the weekend, putting us all to shame. I think I ate my weight in chocolate at the Super Bowl, and then I like flicked on Instagram, and there was me of like, yeah, I just ran a marathon. I was like, that girl.
I mean, I think lockdown has been hard for everyone. It wasn't necessarily totally random. So no, it definitely wasn't. We had planned on doing it for a while, and I think we had actually hoped to have it done before Christmas. But I think I briefly mentioned before that the three of us that did it may or may not have tumbled off our bikes before Christmas. So we had a knee injury in the camp, so we couldn't do it before Christmas or in November or anything. So we had to postpone, but we continued training and kind of researching marathons a bit more and making sure that we were doing it right, because we had a couple, like, we don't come from athletics backgrounds, but it was something that we wanted to do. So people were saying you have to make sure you do it properly, you have to eat loads and all that kind of thing, and make sure that you've run a certain distance. So for us, we actually just ran up as far as 30 kilometers, and decided that was enough for us, that we'd be able to pull off the 42.2. We actually thought it was 42.5. I had an inkling that it wasn't 42.5, but one of the others thought it was 42.5 when we were doing it. So that's as far as we ran, to make sure that we had it done. There was no point in being 300 meters short. But yeah, that was great to do. It's great to have it checked off the list. We had tapered for it kind of from 2 weeks before. I think we're gonna do an episode about it. I think the three of us are going to sit down and chat and talk about like what we thought before, how we felt during, how we felt after, and that kind of thing. Because I know like we had talked to people in athletics that said we're not like scaring us, but at the same time, like we are saying that we hadn't done enough. But we are young athletes and we are training all the time, and we weren't racing it, we were doing it to do it and finish the distance. So we believed ourselves that we were able to complete the distance. So I guess it's about understanding your own capabilities. So I mean, if anybody wants to set out and give themselves a new challenge, whether it's a 5k, a 10k, or a half marathon, or if you want to go the full distance, you can still certainly set yourself new goals during COVID-19 and lockdown. It's hard to stay motivated at the moment, so even a small target can keep people motivated to do something. But I think that's all we have today. I can still walk, so that's positive. My knees are a bit bit sore after I did. I actually did sit on my bum and went down the stairs a couple of times. I thought it was a little bit easier, but sure, look, these things happen. I can walk up and down the stairs now. So I know it's
Little
grand. Like,
victories.
it's grand. Like, the three of us have recovered fine. So it was just like we certainly were tired on the day.
Were you
And
not starving after? That's my concern. Like that your digestion
no,
system just kind of no.
no. After we do our long runs, we're actually never hungry. It takes a while to kind of get hungry again because you've just been pushing yourself for so long. And like I know we said we're not racing it, but like you still like you're running for such a long time, and we do take on a bit of food during it, like jellies or dates
Mm.
or whatever it is to keep going. But like you kind of have pushed yourself so far that you don't really want to eat, or at least that's what we experienced. The couple like we've done a few other long runs than just the 42.2, but we do eat. You have to eat something, but like I feel like if you eat too much too quick, you almost feel a bit sick. So
Yeah.
you just kind of have to build into it. But like getting fluid on after, like for me, like after any of the long runs, I kind of drank a bit of milk actually, just like because it's like recovery and getting something into you, and then
Yeah.
start snacking on something, and then eventually you'll be able to have a meal. We had about 2 hours after I think we actually had lunch, like proper lunch, and
Did you have
then.
chocolate milk?
No, I just had. I didn't drink it that day. We had mimosas after. On the day of the marathon, we had mimosas. That was our finish line kind of dream, was that we would have the mimosas at the end. So yeah, we rewarded ourselves a little bit after, and enjoyed a couple of drinks. But yeah, I mean, look, you can certainly do different bits and pieces while all this is ongoing. So, I mean, if anybody else is doing any challenges or setting themselves up for different things, let us know. We'd love to hear how you're keeping yourself motivated. And maybe, I mean, we're looking for a new challenge. So if someone wants to give us a new challenge, we're certainly open to ideas.
I need to
Adventure
asterisk this
races
and
have been.
say Niamh is looking for new challenges. I am very happy with what I have done in my life so far. I do my daily workouts of Pilates and yoga, depending on my mood, for 20 minutes to half an hour, depending on my mood again. I'm fine personally. If you want me to do like a dare, I'll happily do that. I'm learning how to skateboard, so that's taking up
Oh,
all of my
yeah, that looks so fun.
yeah, so I haven't died as of yet. So I go bulldog at the minute. I'm going belly flat and like pawing myself along.
Deadly.
That was a great vivid description. But yeah, so I'm learning how to do that. And then someone messaged me saying that in like Tony Hawk's like X Pro games, like the stuff he's got going on, there's a lot of people without legs. So like the same as me, actually like doing like flips and tricks and stuff. And you
Deadly.
know when you like see it and you're like, I could do that. Like it's not that hard. And like also like they have no limbs like me, so that's what made it even more challenging. It was like the time I saw a guy without no, he had legs, he had no arms. Do a box jump, and he jumped 6 feet. Yeah, I
Oh,
think it was
yeah,
six
saw
feet.
it.
Yeah, and all the guys like for my football team were like, Joanne can do that. And then I had to like go through like the physics of like how I possibly can do that. So like I don't have like the platform to jump myself off of. I can jump off the ground like 6 inches. Like if you were to like if you were to do it, you'd have to sit on your bum. So like going downstairs again. So like from bum to in the air, it's 6 inches that I can do. I can't do any higher than that. I nearly killed myself on the 7 inches. Like I fell backwards.
That's so cool. But it's great, like it's great that you're doing all these things, and you're always open to trying different things. Like the skateboarding is so cool, and I can't wait to see like the rest of your journey with it, because it seems like you're enjoying it, and it's certainly a fun thing. I mean, like I would be hopeless on a skateboard, so you'll have to give me a step-by-step guide, and that can be the next challenge for me.
It's an
But
adrenaline rush. That's the
yeah.
problem. It's an adrenaline rush when you're just going downhill and you're like, oh god, like we've a
You
hill
wear
like
a
next to our
helmet.
house. No,
Oh,
like
it's not cool to wear a helmet skateboarding, isn't it?
well, if you're a rookie, I need people to understand. Yes, please wear a helmet. But as I was telling you off air, Niamh, that I could have been a winter Paralympic athlete myself.
This is
I
true.
was,
This is true.
I was,
I
I
mean,
was
you still
involved.
can.
I could. I was involved in the trial for bobsleighing to see if we can get into the Paralympics, and I
So
actually
cool.
did a week long training thing with the British Olympians who came fourth actually in the Paralympics or the Olympics the following year. So I could have made something of myself. I just decided I was too lazy and I wanted to be a journalist instead.
No, I think the skateboarding looks cool. And bobsleighing certainly is on my list of things to do. I think I'll probably sooner be in a bobsleigh than I will on a skateboard. I just feel like I'll be safer in the bobsleigh, which I know might sound a bit ridiculous, but I think my own hand-eye coordination might be better suited to sitting in something as opposed
I
to
feel like
my own
I,
balance.
I feel like you'll be good at skateboarding. You've got good
Mm,
core. You've got good core
mm.
strength. That's what you need, no?
Oh, I don't know. No, I think I'd fall off. Like, I think I'd be
Apparently,
at
like
like face flat on the ground.
apparently, if your core is like strong and you could like twist like that and you can kind of
Oh,
bend,
yeah, I don't know.
apparently you're okay.
Yeah.
But people get the mistake, and this is actually like before we literally go, this is like the mistake people make that they put their dominant foot in front. So like if you're
Okay.
right footed, they stand with their right leg at the front of the board. You actually have to stand with your right leg at the back of the board because it gives you more
Okay.
propelling.
Control.
Yeah, and you're able to like propel yourself like better, so you're not
Okay.
mixing up. So that's one mistake people do make actually quite a bit is they stand with their dominant foot in front. Because my PA was doing it, and she nearly took a nosedive. I was like, I'm not writing a report to the HSE on how you get.
Gas. I think that's all we have to say. I mean, if people enjoyed what we did at the weekend, I'm sure we can share what we do next weekend. We mightn't do anything, but um, other than that, it's gotten very dark and people can barely see us
I'm
anymore.
I'm in
But
black.
follow us on our social channels. Let us know what else you want us to talk about. We have another episode of A League of Her Own that's coming out on Friday, so that's certainly going to be interesting. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. It's going dark, so it's time to finish this one up.
Good night, Niamh. Cheerio.
All right, talk to you later.